Now, the Snap Fitness franchise has a very appealing business model. You invest a couple of $100,000, you sit back, and the money rolls in as happy people join your club. But could it actually be that easy? And how much can you actually earn owning a Snap Fitness? And what are the risks? We're going to take a look at that today on Franchise City. So the cost to open up a Snap Fitness is going to range between $153,000 to $530,000, depending on the size of the club and a number of other local variables. You're going to pay a fee of about $570 every month to Snap Fitness. A national marketing fee is $275 a month. Local marketing fund is $200 a month. A member services fee is $1 per member. Membership processing fee is $5.90 for each new agreement, and 61 cents each month. Now, there's a few other fees that we're not going to go into today, but we will give you the total amount that Snap Fitness earns from its franchisees, and stay tuned for that. So the fitness franchise model is seductive. It's supposedly a passive model where you can keep your job or existing business. You hire someone to run the club while you just sit back and the money rolls in. But let me ask you this. What happens if you are unable to find someone who's qualified to run your club? And finding the right fit in the fitness industry can be challenging because they do need to have a very specific skill set of sales and of fitness. Now, it's hard enough these days to retain quality personnel, even in non-skilled labor situations with unemployment at the lowest rate it's been in a long time. So bear in mind that if you can't find anyone, or if you keep losing your key manager, you are absolutely going to need to take a more active role in your club. So be prepared to do so. Now, if you're being told how easy it is to run a fitness club and it's completely passive, well, it might be, and it might not be. So hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and if your job or other business does not allow some level of flexibility, you may want to reconsider this industry. Now, here are the numbers estimating what you can earn owning a Snap Fitness franchise. This is taken directly from their most recent franchise disclosure documentation. Now, they break down the earnings into 3 tiers. 400 members, what you're going to earn, 617 members, and 935 members. So at 400 members, you're going to end up with about $33,000 a year. At 617 members, $110,000 a year. And at 935 members, you will be grossing $221,000 a year. And for sure, your club, because you're so awesome, you're going to have over 935 members, right? Just because you are so amazing. And that's what people look at, this high number. They expect the absolute best. That's what's going to happen. And when you look at that number, over $200,000 a year for a passive ownership situation, let's face it, that's amazing. But before you put down that deposit on your Lamborghini, did you read the fine print? So these amounts are actually before the owner's salary, before paying your employee wages, before any debt repayment that you have, and before taxes. Now, we can see here that the average number of members for a Snap Fitness location is actually 543 members with 418 memberships. So that is the average across the board for an average Snap Fitness location. Now, if we track back the value on 617 members, we multiply by 543 members, that's going to leave us with a total gross annual operating cash flow of just over $97,000, which we now have to pay our employee wages, have to pay our loans if we have them, taxes, and then if there's something left over, pay ourselves a salary. Now, a quick note that I'd like to make on wages. Keep in mind that certain states have additional requirements for CPR trained staff or others to be present in the location at all times. So you need to check your state laws to determine what those wages are going to be. And there isn't much margin here. So additional staffing requirements can make any profit quickly disappear. Now, also note that these revenue figures included personal training revenue. So they assume that you have a personal trainer and they've put those numbers in there. Now, not all clubs have personal trainers, and their own FDD states, and remember, this fine print is within hundreds and hundreds of pages, so it's easy to miss. But it says personal training revenue varies widely by club depending on the ability to find qualified and motivated personal trainers, types of services, and management of the personal training programs. In other words, it might be a challenge to find trainers. It's probably going to be a challenge to find trainers, in which case you need to back that revenue number out from this gross annual cash flow. So even if you have a club that's higher than the average at 617 members, your $110,000 now becomes $71,433. Now, out of that money, you have to pay your staff, have to pay your taxes, debt repayment, and everything else. Now, whatever's left, you get to keep. But compared with other franchises, how do these numbers stack up? Well, we often poke fun at Subway franchise. They've got the second lowest earnings on the QSR 50. That's a list just for quick serve restaurants. They're just over $400,000 a year, and they are the second from the bottom. The only franchise that is lower than Subway is Baskin-Robbins. But with this franchise, Snap Fitness, even if you have a huge 935 members, well above the average, you are going to be making the same as an average Subway franchise, second lowest on the QSR 50. Now keep in mind, this is supposed to be a passive investment, so you need to look at it a little differently than an owner-operated franchise. But there are many franchises that provide average unit volumes over $1 million a year. Some franchises have average unit volumes over $6 million a year, and they actually have a lower investment than Snap Fitness. Now keep in mind, with these, you need to work full-time on the business, and these companies are very selective in choosing franchisees that fit their ideal profile. Now, another concern with their FDD is locations that have been closing. So over the past 3 years, Snap Fitness franchise locations have been closing their doors. Started in 2016 with 1,033 stores, ended up in 2018 with 880 stores remaining. Now, keep in mind that this is a net number. So if they sold stores, they are included here. This is the number of net. So stores sold minus that. So there's no growth in this company from that perspective. Now, I took a look at where these stores have been closing pretty much across the board. We've got several in Florida, several in Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Now, when smart people call us to help buy their franchise, we set up calls with the people who closed their stores to find out what happened. It's really great insight into potential issues you might face. Now, the franchisor, they only want you to speak with the top producers, but you need to hear both sides of the story to make a good decision. Back in 2017, there was a nationwide class action lawsuit by franchisees against Snap Fitness, alleging breach of contract, unjust enrichment, violation of the Ohio Consumer Sales Practices Act, and violation of the Ohio Prepaid Entertainment Contract Act. Snap Fitness agreed to pay $2.9 million to a settlement fund and will pay $350,000 in attorney's fees and is responsible for all costs associated with the class administration of the fund. There's also a lawsuit alleging fraudulent misrepresentation, breach of contract, interference with contractual and prospective contractual relations, fraud, and violations of the Minnesota Franchises Act that ended up with Snap Fitness having to pay $305,000 in damages, fees, and expense. Now, some potential concerns from previous owners on the Unhappy Franchisee website state, don't believe the sales pitch that you can run a successful Snap while also working full-time somewhere else. This would only work if you are able to pay a full-time sales-oriented manager. Also, you most likely will not break even within the first 6 months. It could take 12 to 18 months or more. Make sure you have the financial resources to subsidize your business for the long haul. These were my two biggest mistakes. I didn't have the time, energy, or finances to keep my business going. Another comment lists reasons why the locations are closing in their opinion. Inaccurate representation of potential financial success by corporate, factual statistics about financial health of current franchisees are not available, weak business model, inadequate support provided to franchisees by corporate, no contract memberships. These become a liability in time. Billing software and technical equipment continually have issues. requires turnover of staff to keep costs low. You have revolving door employees. Return on investment, if any, is scant and unjustified for the amount of risk. And corporate is making huge profits while franchisees are wiping out. Now, we took a look at the FDD, and Snap Fitness earned over $14 million on goods and services that are sold to franchisees, which was about 20% of their total revenue, over $73 million. So is Snap Fitness a good investment? Now, I'm going to say something that might surprise you. In your situation, Snap Fitness might be the best option. There are people who are very happy with their Snap Fitness investment. First-time buyers, they don't understand that until you consider your own specific operational skills, your risk tolerance, your local demographic, your market needs, and many of these other factors, you can't make a good decision. And that's why smart buyers contact Franchise City. Our process identifies your skills and weaknesses. It compares your franchise choice with other brands that might be better suited and more profitable for your situation. It looks at your market demand and ultimately determines the best fit for you. And it's free to qualified buyers. You can learn more by clicking the link above. Please like and subscribe, hit that bell for updates, and thank you for watching.
Franchise City, a better way to buy franchise.